What's up guys, welcome back to another video and thanks so much for stopping in. This is my brand new Kraus Kr8 front end with Ohlins inverted forks. This is a sander and this is 220 grit sandpaper. So yeah, that really did just happen. This is a brand new FF523M Ohlins inverted fork. It came in my Kraus Kr8 kit, and as you can see, the title was not bullshit. I just ruined this thing. As you guys know, I cannot leave anything alone. I don't like stock stuff, and I like stuff that is unique, that is not just swipe the card and you got it. So, Ohlins only offers these forks in black anodized finish and in gold, neither of which I think are going to be the best look for my 2024 Road Glide. So therefore, I am completely sanding down this finish and I am polishing this thing out to a mirror shine, which is going to perfectly match my Speed Dealer swing arm and my chrome wheels. Now these forks are definitely going to be the star of the show today, especially once we get them all shined up. But there's a lot of other cool components to this Kraus Kr8 kit. Let's take a look. So as you guys can see, there is a lot going on here. I'm gonna do my best to keep it brief, but there are a few points that I wanna share with you that I think are gonna be valuable, whether you're interested in the Kraus Kr8 front end, maybe the Ohlins original garage partnership inverted front end, or the Harley Davidson Screaming Eagle Ohlins inverted front end, right? So start things off, we have some very detailed Kraus instructions. They're printable, they're on their website. They offer these for pretty much all of their different parts. Very detailed, nice big blown up pictures and torque specs. So really helpful for the end user when you're trying to make sense of everything that you got here. In addition to that, we have a set of Spiegler Kraus brake lines for the front and rear. This is a partnership between Kraus and Spiegler, just like they partnered with Ohlins for the forks. And these are gonna be necessary if you're running the +2 length, which I am here. They offer it in the stock length or +2. And then also when you're running radial calipers, depending on where the banjo mounts on what brand and style of caliper you have, those may be necessary. You may be able to get away with your stock brake lines, which would be nice because then you don't have to get your ABS flushed like I'm gonna have to once I do install this stuff. But nonetheless, it's a pretty cheap upgrade. It's like 250 bucks. They're stainless braided, so that's nice. We have the bottom tree, top tree, all balls racing bearing kit, neck bearing. I've already pressed onto the bottom tree stem here. We have an axle, we have the proper spacers. We also have a spacer here in case you're not running ABS. And we have the fork guards there. We have 108 millimeter caliper brackets here. We have fender adapter here, which you're gonna need on your 24 and above. You're not gonna need 23 and below. The new fenders just have the mounting holes in a little bit different location, so therefore you need those. And we have the most important part of this kit, the fork legs. So as I said, these are the FF523Ms, and that is Ohlins Builders Series forks. These are pretty customizable to work on pretty much any motorcycle that wants the best suspension on the market. Whether you're running like a cafe racer, a Harley, a chopper, as long as you have the proper size tree diameter to mount onto this fork leg, you're gonna be able to make this fork work for you. You're able to custom option out the spring lengths, the cartridges themselves, so depending on the weight of your motorcycle or the rider weight or how you want the suspension to interact with the road, those are all things that you can customize. Kraus does offer a touring option, a performance option, the +2 option. That's what I have here, where they also upgrade from a 12 Newton meter spring to a 14 Newton meter spring, so it's a little bit stiffer. So a lot we can do with just the internals of these, right? Down below here on the bottom of the fork leg is where you have more customizable options. You have multiple bolt holes here. That's for depending on what type of fender you're running or if you're running these fork guards, which we are here. These fork guards are from Kraus. They're a part of the kit. They are billet aluminum, not plastic, really nicely machined, just very, very detailed, right? On the back side of the fork here, you see more holes. These are so that you can customize what type of brakes you want to run or mount. That allows you to mount axial mounts or radial ones 100 millimeter, 108 millimeter, etc., which really opens up the world to you in terms of what type of calipers you want to run. So that's where we get into the first large difference between the Screaming Eagle kit and Ohlins kit, an original garage kit versus this one. So here we have the 108 millimeter, really again, nice machined billet aluminum radial mounts that bolt to the rear of these forks. When it comes to the Screaming Eagle kit and the original garage kit, yes, they are Ohlins forks, but they are not equal in terms of their design. So on this one, it is a billet aluminum milled piece with all of those customizable options I just stated, whereas with the Screaming Eagle and the original garage kit, those forks are a cast aluminum bottom piece here, and what you got is all you got. So it already has the radial caliper mount built into that casting of it, and so you're limited to running a 100 millimeter radial brake caliper. There may be an adapter kit there, I'm not sure. I think it would be really funky because it'd be right at the end of the radial mount there, but either way, you are limited then to a 100 millimeter radial caliper. In addition to that, there are less valving options, obviously, and also length options. The original garage kit uses the FGRT, I think 307, which is a very good fork. It is specifically Ohlins Harley Davidson made fork. It's like designed for Harley Davidson's heavy touring bikes. So they are valved and sprung for a heavier bike, which is really good. But if you want a taller length or you want to change the other options that I've already discussed, you're not gonna be able to. So keep that in mind. That's why Original Garage offers a 1-inch drop tree. That way you are able to get at least 1 inch higher in the front with their kit. The Harley Davidson Screaming Eagle kit, that's it. That's what you got. Again, you could get Original Garage's drop trees and then use those on your Screaming Eagle legs instead of using the Harley Davidson stock trees, but you know, that's gonna be up to you. And then you really need to start looking at the diameter of the fork body and make sure that the Original Garage trees are gonna fit on the Screaming Eagle body, right? Because those are different fork part numbers and you know, designs, right? These are a 43 millimeter. The FGRT 307s are, I think, a 48 millimeter. So these trees would not bolt on to those forks or vice versa. So just do your research and understand that those are some of the factors that you're going to be dealing with when you look at the differences between those kits. So hopefully that helps. And yeah, from here, I think it's time. I got to spend the next few hours sanding this fork body down and the other one, and then I'm going to start polishing them out. It's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to look really cool. I have showed you guys before how I polish things on my stainless exhaust, quite a few videos ago now, but so I'm not going to how-to polishing this and then also how to install it. That's just too much. So I'm just gonna take care of this off camera, jam out to some music. Maybe I'll time lapse a little bit for you guys, but yeah, that's how that's gonna go. All right, you guys, I am absolutely cooked. I look like hell. Yeah, I got some polishing compound all over me, but they are done. They look incredible, and I am not installing them tonight. It's like almost 9 now. I started at like, I don't know, 2 on sanding and polishing these. So yeah, it's time consuming, but it is worth it. Check out this end result. Things might as well be chrome. So that's all for tonight. I'm gonna get in, get showered up, get some good rest, because tomorrow we're gonna be yanking the front end that I currently have in the bike, which is stock fork legs with 2 over fork tubes and Ohlins cartridges. This combo honestly looks so good. I'm a little bit sad to be getting rid of it, but I am excited to be upgrading to an inverted front end, and with my own little touch, I think it's just gonna be. So, catch you guys in the morning. All right, good morning, you guys. We're back at it. We've got a fire started because it is cold as hell in here. We got some coffee. I think we're ready to pull the front end out from underneath this thing so that we can install all these new badass parts. So if you're running your stock stuff, it's gonna be a little bit different for disassembly. So I'm not gonna be too detailed when it comes to like what size every bolt and stuff is. All right, we've got our bathroom towel tank cover in place. I should really buy a real one, but it works. We're gonna be trying to drop the risers onto the tank. That way I can just pull the top tree and then bottom will come right out. And then we can slip the new stuff in and bolt it right in place. You can do that. You don't need to pull them completely, disassemble the bars from them and everything like that. So. Just doing a quick little wipe out here. Make sure there's no crap before we put in the new races. Okay, in under an hour, we have reached pretty much the halfway point. We are done disassembling. We have the forks out, trees out, the neck bearing outer races that are pressed into the frame, tapped out. We're ready to start reassembling things. Normally, I would love to pull the tank and pull the brake lines as well while I'm at it, since, that would be easiest while everything is kind of out of the way of the front end. But the bars are currently resting on the tank. I don't want to overcomplicate things. They're safe there. I'd rather just reassemble the front end as is and then show you guys, what it would look like if you were to maintain your stock brake lines. And then in the next one, I will probably pull the tank and, run the new brake lines and the calipers and stuff once I have everything just reassembled and the bars back on. And I think that's going to be the easiest plan of attack there. So normally it would be easiest to do this stuff all in one sweep, but based on my situation here, that's why I am going to be reassembling the front end with the calipers and brake lines that I'm not going to end up with still hanging here for now. And I know I wasn't my normal detail-oriented self with this assembly telling you what every bolt size was and everything like that, but that is due to the fact that I'm running aftermarket trees. I don't have a nacelle. I had the fork brace. There's just a lot of differences. Really, the only thing that's kind of still stock on the front end was like the axle, which is a 19mm Allen, if you're wondering. So, yeah, realistically, just wanted to knock it out. I'm trying to make these videos a little bit shorter for you guys as well. I know some people don't like that they're like 35 minutes normally. So, but yeah, the reassembly now is going to be very detailed. I'm going to tell you every step, what size I'm using, torque specs, etc. So if you were to be able to get your stock front end off, you could follow this along and easily install this Kraus Kr8 kit. So let's get started. Okay, to start things off, we're gonna press the new neck bearing outer races into the frame. I know if you go by Kraus's instructions, first thing they say to do is to mount the brake caliper adapters on the fork legs, but I feel like prepping out the frame of the bike first. That way it's ready to accept the new trees. Order of operations, stuff like that, it does not matter, obviously, but when it comes to the order of operations for torquing things up and putting weight on the bike before you tighten up the axle and stuff like that, that does matter. So next up, you'll have already pressed your bearing on because unfortunately Kraus does not do that for you. Once that's done, we're ready to grease this thing up, and the upper bearing, Harley Davidson recommends special purpose grease. You buy it from them. I don't know exactly what properties it has that are different than other stuff, but these bearings from All Balls Racing that Kraus supplies the kit come bone dry, nothing. At least with Harley Davidson, there's like a little bit in there. There's absolutely nothing. So when it comes to packing these bearings, it's more than just coating the outer surface of it. You really do want to pack the grease in and rotate it and continue to pack it in. Okay, we've got those all greased up. I need to clean up my mess around the tree there, but we are ready to slap them in the bike. Real quick, I just wanted to point out, I like the All Balls Racing bearing kit a lot better than the Harley Davidson one. This is the Harley Davidson upper washer that goes above the neck bearing. Not really a great sealing property there. All Balls, rubber, it's got a lip seal to it, too actually. That's going to capture the grease a lot better, stop water from getting in when you're pressure washing your bike if you wash it way too often like I normally do. So I recommend that kit over the Harley Davidson one for sure. All right, we've got that top yoke nut on. Basically what they're looking for is for you to tighten it up and get some like tension on the bearings, kind of press them together, but then loosen it back off to where you can move the bottom tree without that top yoke nut moving. That way we can set the top tree on and the bars and risers, attach all of that. We'll end up setting our fall away or basically our neck bearing tension later on. They want you to be able to independently move these trees for now so that you can slip the forks up and in and align everything. And just like everything else Kraus makes, really, really beautiful, high quality piece here. This is where you can see the yoke nut goes, and then this will torque down on that once you have your neck bearing tension set. So spinning that yoke nut is how you set the tension here, whereas like with the thrashing trees, you use that stem nut, or stem bolt I should say. So yeah, let's get this thing pressed on. All right, here we go. Moment of truth. It's time to slip these fork legs up and into the trees. We've got our rebound, which is going to be on the A side of the bike. It's also the side that has the telltale little piece here that shows how much your suspension is traveling. Kraus does recommend that you slam a wedge into the trees. That way they don't scratch your fork legs on the way up. I have done that. I'll show you guys up close once we get to that. But for now, we're going to slip this thing in and get it just started tight up on top so it doesn't move. Okay, before I go permanently bolting the fork legs and the trees, I'm gonna take the time now to set the sag. You're gonna need to probably fine tune adjust that while you're riding, obviously, but Kraus does have recommendations to get you close. The reason I'm choosing to do it now is when you turn that cap, all the writing and stuff is on that. So if I can get those dialed down to where I want them and then bolt them up, then I don't have one like rebound over here and compression like pointing down here. So it's just an OCD thing. You can do it that way, or you can do it later on, it doesn't matter, but that's what I'm choosing to do. So it's gonna be 13 turns for 200 pounds for the estimated proper sag. So that's what I'm gonna do. And then if I have to fine tune adjust it from there, I will later on. So you're just gonna back it out all the way counterclockwise and then go 13 turns clockwise, tightening that up. So now that we have the top tree just barely tight, it's not torqued or anything, we need to make sure that everything is in alignment. The height looks visually perfectly the same between the two caps on a tree, but they do recommend that you slip your axle through and make sure that everything is perfectly aligned before you torque your bottom tree bolts and work your way up from there. So throw the axle in, perfect. So we're perfectly aligned there, everything looks good. Didn't have to force anything, that's what we want. So from here, we can go ahead and torque up our bottom tree bolts. All right, there's 12 foot-pounds. You should torque both pinch bolts twice. It doesn't say that in instructions. Some people say not to because then you could like pinch the fork tube too hard and like dent it. No, do it twice. It's not a thing. You're not going to damage it. The only reason that torque spec is so low is because it's a stainless bolt going into aluminum to begin with. So we're at the point where we're ready to install the front wheel. We're gonna grease up this axle with some anti-seize, same as the OEM one was. And this is gonna go just like stock. We're gonna run our axle in here, and then we need to grab our wheel. And now that we have the axle slipped through, we've got our ABS mounted here. We're good to put our washer and nut on. Okay, so our axle is gonna get torqued to 110 foot-pounds. Okay, we have a little bit of tension on this front wheel. That way everything sits as it should. So now that we have the axle torqued up to 110 foot-pounds, we need to torque the pinch bolts. But to do that, we need to put our caliper mounts on because the bottom two holes is where those pinch bolts go. We're gonna be throwing blue Loctite on all this hardware. I'll tell you what the sizes are and torque specs when we get going on it. So according to Kraus, the top two M6 bolts get torqued to 62 inch-pounds. And the next four M8 bolts all get torqued to 170 inch-pounds. So we're starting to get pretty close here. As you can see, we still need to install the fork guards, which also double as the fender mounts, but I'm gonna hold off on installing those. I have a different style of front fender coming that covers the lower fork legs and the fork seals. So I don't really want to install those fork guards temporarily and then chew up these nice clean black threads in these lower fork legs here. I'd rather just never bolt them in and have it be nice and clean. So we're gonna hold off on installing those things. Still need to get those risers bolted up to the trees. Still need to set the fall away. And then we still need to torque those pinch bolts on the upper tree. But we are rolling into the weekend. I got regular life stuff to do, so that's gonna have to wait until Monday. So I'll check in with you guys shortly. Good morning, you guys. We're back. We're ready to finish knocking this project out. Off camera, I did remove the calipers from the brake lines, drain them real quick, and then I just draped the brake lines up over there, so you do see that that has changed. Other than that, I have done nothing without you guys. First thing I'm gonna do today is mount the risers on the trees, and then I'm gonna set the fall away. Technically, to set the fall away, you don't want a clutch cable or brake line affecting that, but I've gotten really used to where I like my neck bearing settings to be based on how the bars feel. So that's how I'm gonna set it. Kraus does have instructions. It's the same as the Harley instructions for fall away, except 1/2 less swing so that you have a little bit more tension on those neck bearings. One thing to keep in mind when installing your risers on your Kraus top tree that's in this KR8 kit, they do not provide a set of riser bushings. So if If you do not already have a set of billet riser bushings, you might want to pick a set up because they're not going to be in your kit, and you'll be stuck with your stock ones if you're going from stock to this now. And then you're trying to reassemble everything and you go, oh shit, I don't have them. Luckily, I have a set from a couple of setups ago that I had, so I'm good to go there. But just keep that in mind if you're wanting to install this kit in like a weekend. You're gonna wanna order a set of those. So when you order Kraus's riser bushings, they're gonna come with a set of riser bolts, and then they're also gonna come with a set of machined bushings and black anodized bushings. You may be thinking which ones go on top, and that's completely dependent on your setup. They are exactly the same, it's just whether you have black trees or if you have their machined trees, you would put that one on top so everything blends in nicely. I'm gonna use the black ones on top here. And I am using a little bit of red Loctite on these riser bolts. I don't know if they say red or blue, but I've always used red, never had an issue. These bolts are huge, and if you're running solid bushings and polyurethane engine mounts and stuff like that, you got more vibration, it's probably a good idea. Obviously this would be easier with a friend. Got a riser bolt here. Just gonna try to get this thing up and in and started. Okay, we've got the riser mount bolts all tightened up. I did throw the seat on because I was just excited to see how the overall riding position is now that the bars aren't closer to me. I'm happy with it, it's gonna be comfortable. So I'm gonna rock these things over and give these a final torque. It's gonna be 55 foot-pounds according to Kraus. So with our risers torqued, we can now set our fall-away tension. So this is our yoke nut here. This is a 5/8 Allen, the same as our axle. That's what's gonna be what tightens down on that upper neck bearing, and then the top tree actually bolts to that yoke nut. So the top tree, all we're gonna need to do is make sure it's pressed down all the way on the yoke nut once we have that fall away set. Harley Davidson's fall away method is, I think you start at the left and it's supposed to swing back, forth, and back, or back, forth, and back and forth. Kraus recommends starting on the left and going back and forth and stopping. That's what I've about set it at here. So we're starting on the left, we go back and a little bit forth. That is a little bit tighter than what Kraus recommends, and that's just where I like it. That's where I had it set before with my previous setup. It may, in theory, wear your neck bearings out a tiny bit quicker, but that little bit more resistance is not enough to negatively change handling, but it does just help with the bike tracking better, high speed cornering, letting go of the bars and how the bike tracks and whether or not you get like a shake and stuff like that. It basically acts like a steering damper would by tightening those neck bearings a little bit tighter. They usually come way too loose from factory. Whenever you hear somebody having a front end wobble, if everything's in alignment and their wheel's balanced and it's a 19-inch wheel and they haven't done a bunch of crazy stuff to it, rake and trail and whatnot, it should be the neck bearings that are too loose. We'll go ahead and start torquing up the tree now that we have everything where we want it to be. It's a 5/16 Allen, same as the bottom tree pinch bolts. We're gonna torque it to 20 foot-pounds. Okay, so now that we have the fall away all set and the front end is all torqued up, we're gonna put this thing down on its own weight, so we're gonna reassemble the wheel chock situation here. So as you guys can see, just quickly mocking everything up, I did end up trying to throw this fender on just with the rear mount, just to see how everything's gonna sit and fit. This fender's contour is definitely for a 19-inch front wheel, so still waiting on my 19 to show up. This brake caliper will not fit currently without some spacers. That is completely normal. Depending on what size brake rotors you're running, you're going to have to run different size spacers. These are currently a 12.6, which is the same size as OEM, but along with my 19-inch front wheel, I have 13-inch oversized rotors coming, which are obviously going to cause the brake caliper to have to be bumped out even further. So I'm going to order Kraus's adjustable brake caliper mounting kit for radial calipers. It's basically just a bunch of, like, I think it's 2 mil spacers, and you stack up however many you need, and that's going to get you the proper sizing for no matter what size brake rotors I have, because with a radial, you can just do this number depending on what size you need. So that's that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I have to give a huge thank you to my friend Carlos over in Southern Florida. I met him on Instagram and he did help me out getting my hands on this Kraus Kr8 kit. So I'm gonna link his Instagram right here, check it out. Give him a follow. He's building a really cool CVO ST, performance oriented. It's red, it's absolutely beautiful. It's got every nice piece you could ever want on them. And I really hope you guys enjoyed coming along as I mad scientist up these forks and made this my own. I think there's gonna be no doubt now when you see this thing parked at shows that this is my bike. I don't know of another set of polished Ohlins inverted, Kraus kit forks. I don't know of any other ones out there. So I have seen that Moonshine Harley Davidson offers a chrome version, but that ends up being the entire forks and trees and everything. It's a whole kit. It's like over $10,000. So this was a very cost-efficient way for me to make this my own. So I look forward to giving you guys a more detailed review of how I like the inverted setup versus conventional forks. Like I said, I'm trying to keep videos shorter for you guys because I have seen the comments that people don't love me just talking to the camera too much, but I know some people do like, having the information. So I'm trying to split hairs and please everybody, and I know that's not always gonna happen, but I will give you guys a very detailed overview of what I think about the overall handling versus traditional with cartridges. But basically the advantage to an inverted front end is going to be it is stronger, it is lighter feeling because all of the weight and mass of the forks is now moved up to the trees instead of down here at the wheel. So basically when you hit bumps and stuff like that, it's supposed to handle much better. But I'll let you guys know whether or not I think it's worth it. I highly doubt the difference between a cartridge and a traditional fork versus an inverted is worth over $5,000. But if you are just going from your stock stuff, it may make sense to just go right to this if you have the money and the desire for that kind of top of the line suspension performance. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to comment down below. Let me know what you think. Anything, video quality, fork stuff, questions about other stuff on the bike. And don't forget to subscribe. In the next one, we're going to be installing the Brembo brake calipers with those Kraus spacers. I'm gonna start running brake lines probably right after I kick you guys out of here, so that'll be in the next one. And we're still working on that intake. Primary on the other side is being welded up by Ratty Fab, so that'll be back and then that'll get bolted back up. And hopefully I can get this thing on the road in like another 2 weeks, because then in another 2 weeks we leave for Arizona Bike Week. So yep, I got a few more videos to get out for you guys. I really need to get on making an event page for Arizona Bike Week. I'm going to set up a group ride. I told you guys I would. I need to get on that. So this week I'm gonna try to get a very detailed itinerary down, let you guys know what events I'm gonna be doing while I'm in Arizona. That way if you're not able to make the event ride, you can still meet up with us, shake hands, smoke a cigar, have a drink, crack some jokes, whatever it is, ask some questions. Love to meet as many of you as possible. So I've got some homework, which means you guys gotta get out of here. I'll catch you in my next off week.